We've heard your requests, and we know what you want. A Tanner Jonathan crossover episode of our newsletters. So you're going to get it. We're in Florida. We're on the West Coast. I'm in a sweater because it's so fucking cold. Sorry, I don't know why. Florida's so warm all the time.
No, 65.
Get real. In the sun, it's warm. It's actually beautiful down here. Don't get me wrong. Very happy to be here. Oh, wait. Now, you know what? Look at all those people just laying out. Just ate my words. It is warm enough.
Yeah, we got 7 people tanning down the way.
Literally.
I actually couldn't have sat down at a better time.
Yeah, that was incredibly timed, to be honest. I don't even know where their house is. So we're down here in Florida, Anna Maria Island, for any of you that are familiar. We're on the waterway. It's beautiful, gorgeous, the weather's great. But we kind of decided, we've been talking a lot about the market, housing, things like that. I've been to a few open houses down here. Tanner's been explaining some things to me as, you know, everything is always changing. And we just kind of decided, best idea, let's give people what they want. We're coming together. We're going to give you guys a full podcast, everything that you hear from each of us every week, all in one place.
Yeah. It'll be a bit of a special episode. So, we put up a couple of talking points, but really we just want to get into it. And I want to hear John's experience in New York City, obviously, and then his opinion on the market across the U.S. Since I know you've been doing some work in L.A., you looked at a bunch of houses down here, and then my experience just from the analytical side, from the back end, talking about interest rates, talking about why home buyers or where home buyers are and where they want to be and why they might or might not be there.
Mm-hmm.
So figured we'd just bring it together and, talk about it. So since we have our audiences are crossed over pretty heavily because we recommend each other on the newsletters.
Yes.
We have a pretty big audience overlap, and obviously we have tons of friends and family that support us both. So we wanted to, with that being said, let's introduce ourselves, kind of talk about what we do.
Yeah.
And start from there.
So if you guys don't know me, you don't follow me, this is mostly probably the Tanner's people. Hi. I'm his older brother. I live in New York. I do residential real estate down there. I've been in the business now 4.5 years. I work, in Manhattan mostly, and then I do the Hamptons, LA. I kind of go wherever my clients go. That's always been my MO. I like to see real estate everywhere. I like to know what's going on in the world. I think it's very important. They often say, being in Florida, Miami is kind of the canary for real estate. What's happening in Miami is usually kind of where the rest of the country is going to go. And it's true. Every country.
Oh, really?
Miami is like where they look first.
Okay.
When they're trying to figure out like what's going to happen in the markets.
Interesting.
I don't really know what makes Miami like
such a draw. Surprises me.
But I've always known that Miami is like the spot that they really look for. I also think that market, it's hot all the time, but it's very extreme. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have like crazy build cycles. Right now, Brickell is just like, I think they're doing 420. I'm going to say 40 new skyscrapers, but I'm going to fact check this later when I edit it, and I'm going to put in the actual number. Okay. It's like an obscene amount.
Yeah.
So like Miami, I don't know. Yeah. But I do real estate. I live in Manhattan. I've been there now almost a decade. Insane that I've been in New York for almost a decade. I'm exhausted. That's why I look like this. 26. I feel 50.
Yeah.
But it's fun. I enjoy it. I love it. And I'm happy to be here.
Been there a decade, but
new team. I just switched jobs. Well, I didn't switch jobs. I switched teams. At the top of December, I joined a new team. We're Next Gen. It's a group of really young, not really young. I mean, we're all 26, 27. But the big factor for us is we're trying to do something different. It's all about, bringing people into a more service-based company rather than the traditional brokerages that are just kind of doing things in the way that everybody else was. We want to be really hands-on, really boutique. And this group that we've come together in has really allowed us to explore that and figure out how we're going to continue to build out. We have weekly vlogs that we do. We have weekly podcasts that we've been releasing. We've got Sandy, our videographer. What's up, Sandy? It's amazing. I'm really happy there. I was at my last company for 4.5 years. It was great until it wasn't. And then it was time to go. I think nobody stays at their first job forever. That's not true. I'm sure some people do. Most people I know. Not lately. I'm sorry. How many layoffs just happened in the last month?
Yeah, we were just talking about it yesterday.
250,000? So many people just got laid off. January's layoff season, everybody. I get a new job. But yeah, that's kind of my little shtick, my little spiel.
Yeah, and you've got the newsletter.
And My God, wow, Tanner, thanks for the promos.
Guys, I mean, got to keep everybody on track.
Seriously, my God. Yeah, I've got a newsletter, Finding Space. It comes out every Wednesday, 7:45 a.m. Tanner put me on the newsletters. I never had one before. And then once I got introduced to Substack, I love to write. So that was a quick pickup. It's talking about, I do a building every week. So I try to break down, a new development or an apartment that I think is a great deal. I give you a market report just to kind of understand where things are in real estate and how you're going to be feeling rates, effects on the market. I just like to give you kind of a full breakdown. Then I give you a restaurant in the city. If you don't live in the city, it's great for when you're visiting. I really have a lot of recommendations on that platform now, so you can really go through and find whatever you need. Yeah. And then I do a weekly color swatch, which ironically is the thing people remember the most.
Yeah, that's the most popular.
Your color swatch. I'm like, oh my God, wow.
Yeah.
It's great.
And with that, you just pull a Bear color swatch, talk about it, what it represents.
I am so unsponsored, sponsored by Bear. It's not even funny. Like, Bear, where's my check?
Please.
I'm only recommending Bear.
Yeah.
I did one Faro and Ball. They're a very, very high-end, expensive paint company.
Bear's little visual representation of the color, I think, is what sets them apart from the other ones. Like, you look up another color online, it'll give you, like, just the color and, like, a square. But Bear, it's got the little paint can, the line across the front.
Okay.
It just looks nice.
I'm so happy that you're recognizing that.
Yeah,
That's exactly why I use Bear. I love the paintbrush in the...
Yeah.
Guys, you got to check out Finding Space if you want to know what we're talking about. I love the paintbrush in the can. I'm like, this is so beautiful. Or it's literally just, it's a white square and just a little
color.
Yeah, of the paint. It's so annoying.
Yeah, it sucks. It's
not cute, but Bear really, they stepped up. You know that they don't put that on their website. I get those off of Home Depot.
Oh,
That's who does those.
Okay. Right, so you got the newsletter.
Got the newsletter. I'm on a new team. I work in real estate in Manhattan. What else can I tell you? I think that's it.
Yeah.
27, about to be. I'm an Aries. I love sour candy. Some fun facts about me.
So I'm in a totally different world than John. I'm not in a well, I guess I am in client-facing now.
Client-facing.
But I've always taken a much more analytical approach to everything. I got in finance very early on, at a job at a bank right out of high school, and that kind of threw me into the whole analysis of everything that's going on in the world. Geopolitics, United States, politics, everything. I'm just keyed into economics, all of it. Financial markets, housing market, the whole shebang. So as I was going through college and looking at friends that were graduating, going into their jobs, I was like, this really isn't what I want to do. Started investing on my own, had a fair bit of success, and now, after graduation, started the research company. That's where I have the newsletter. And for John's audience, my newsletter is called Charts, Trades, and Analysis. And it's a lot of, so the week to week is all about an understanding of financial markets, what's going on in them, really just to give you a quick 10-minute read, update everybody on what's going on, maybe some economic factors that are playing into the market, or some geopolitics. Obviously, we've had a lot of conflict across the world. And a lot of people can see it as exhausting, but for the people who want to pay attention to it, I give a nice quick rundown on what's going on and help people kind of navigate for their own. In addition to that, I've written some articles, and this is really how we started this. I've written articles that are either financial education based, talking about long-term savings plans, investing plans, whatever, but also discussions of the mortgage market, because I did do mortgage analytics for a few years at the bank. That was one of my main duties there. I was modeling out trends and what's going on in the market. And, I was telling John, I'm going to update that in like a couple of months for 2023, since I did one last year for 2019 to 2022. And he was like, well, why don't we just do it together? And I was like, it's a great idea. And then we came down here. Obviously, it's beautiful. And we've got some time on our hands. It's a little cold. We were going to go to the beach, but that's all right.
It's, you know what it is? It's like a Florida cold. I feel like we don't sound ungrateful. It's very warm. It's very beautiful.
Right, because in New York, it's 20 degrees out.
Yeah, it's freezing at home. So this, please, I'll take this any goddamn day.
Yeah. But we were like,
interesting to see Florida in the winter, though.
Please. I don't know if I could do it. It's like permanent vacation. I really couldn't.
Well, I think that's the point when you're retired.
Well, I know, but
that's like the definition of retirement.
Right, but as a young person who I couldn't work here. I couldn't, I wake up in the morning, I brought my laptop. For people that know the circles that I run in my Twitter and whatnot, they know that I've been active throughout the day, but I could not sit down and be actively working when I could walk outside and hang out, do anything, walk around the island, see people.
Fuck no.
Yeah, absolutely.
Honestly, I am a strong advocate for taking a few days off. I think vacation, especially when you're with people like your family, it's important.
Yeah.
And you don't have to take the full day off, you know what I mean? But
Right.
just being here and being present, it's invaluable.
Yeah.
Especially considering we leave tomorrow and it's going to be so cold out.
I'm not excited for that, but I am excited to get back to work and root
Sure.
myself back down and really get to it. But
Well, maybe this will just become like every time we go on a trip somewhere, we just make
we'll just
another
make a little
podcast episode.
podcast.
Yeah.
It's not a bad idea. We could do that
Alright.
because we don't go on them enough, where it'd be like too frequent. But we also go on enough of them,
Yeah.
where we could do something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So talk to me a little bit. I know we have this conversation all the time, but just for the audience
For
at
everyone
large,
else.
what's your experience? You started really working in like pre-COVID, 2019,
August
2018 of 2019. That's when you really got into it.
And my first day was like August 8th.
Yeah. And within 8 months, COVID hit.
Yeah.
So obviously you have the New York scope, but that's pretty representative of the rest of the country, or would you say not really?
Well, the thing about New York during COVID, New York at the time, pre-COVID, I was going to a lot of events and it was a party. You know what I mean? The city, it was never going to stop. Everybody, the sales are going to be great. Bring your people. We're offering all this. Everybody was like, woo! Then all of a sudden, everything stopped. And that was really hard for the city to grapple with because we had just come from a mentality where it was like, the party's never going to stop and the fun's amazing. And then it was just all over. But what we did see, and I am seeing this again now, the big apartments, like the trophies, 50, 60,
Yeah.
people are buying those half off, 60% off. A lot of them, COVID, like huge discounts. And that is the time to buy. When people are scared, that is when you buy, especially in a place like Manhattan. You don't get a lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
It's like that.
In a market that's so liquid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a market, and Manhattan, the market's high. You know what I mean? Price per square foot, $1,600, $1,500 a foot.
Yeah.
And it's not really, you've missed the margin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you can find a way to build the margin back in, you got to catch it. And that's what I'm telling my clients right now. With mortgage rates being so high, now's the time. People are scared. I've really been noticing this trend, speaking of analytics. Houses that were bought in like 14, 15, and 16.
Yeah.
A lot of them,
2014, 15.
Yeah. A lot of them are on the market this year and have been. It's like 8, 9 years. So it kind of makes sense for people to move out. They are almost always being sold at what they paid for or at a loss. All of them. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I'm pushing all my clients to buy something from 2015. Like, someone already paid that price. You'll get it again in the future. You know what I mean?
Why do you think that is?
The market in 2014, 15, 16 was great, especially in Manhattan. It was amazing. They were setting records all the time.
For sellers.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Developments were killing it. Everything was so everyone was buying the top. And like I just said, there's a lot of margin.
Yeah.
So if you're buying the top, what you just realize is like in 10 years, we'll say a decade,
It'll take that long to recoup.
you bought the appreciation. That's all it's worth. You just bought it 10 years ago for that price.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You paid and missed the opportunity to make a lot of money. But now people are taking huge losses. I mean, fucking closing costs, commission. I mean, it's like, you'll be out another like 70, 80 grand sometimes.
Yeah.
When you're all said and done. And you're already taking a loss the moment you list it for what you bought it for.
Right.
Yeah.
Now,
Great.
do you think that, because I feel like when we were talking about our neighbors in Dad's neighborhood who were buying at such extreme prices in 2022, where I recently looked through, the median home price peaked in April of 2023, and it's slowly come down since. Not by much, but a little bit it's come down. So do you think those people are going to experience the same thing where in 10 years they're going to be in the boat of like, holy shit, I bought this house way over, I paid all cash, paid way over sticker or whatever, way over.
I just said this on our Next Gen podcast. I was like, I'm sorry to all of my friends that bought a house in the last 3 years because you all bought the equity. You just bought what you would have made. Yeah. And now you're going to sit in these houses for 10 years and then you're going to sell them for exactly what you bought them for because the markets got so crazy and people get crazy, especially with real estate. I don't know what the hell it is. People get fucking nuts. And I'm like, y'all need to get it together. This is a very big expense. When you're going to buy a house, I'd like to make sure all my clients are very confident going into the transaction. I always tell everyone, there's no pressure on my end for you to make this decision. But when you do make it, I want you to be as confident as possible. However, I can assist you in being confident, I will do. But I want to make sure that you're ready because this is a big deal. And you don't want to be flipping and you don't want to be unprepared, because that's when you lose money. And we're talking about sometimes millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah.
There's a lot on the line and you don't want to fuck it up because we have to buy. It's crazy. People get up in arms about it. It's so just crazy. I don't know.
I feel like it's the same thing in financial markets. There's so much, it's like euphoria.
Yeah.
Right? People get so much euphoria. All their friends, oh, we just got into a new house. Oh, we're moving down the street. It's slightly bigger, or it's different, or it's new, it's whatever. And people are like, I gotta buy, I gotta buy, I gotta buy. And they're not really thinking. They're thinking like, oh, well, 750, that one sold for 750. This one's 750, that's good. They don't realize that one and that one both sold for 500 to go.
Yeah.
You know, and we saw a lot of that through 2020 to 2022. People bought homes just by happenstance because they needed to in 2020, and that, you know, for moving jobs or whatever. And then they're like, after 2 years, like, oh my God, my home price is up 50%. I'll just offload this. But there are people looking at those houses like, what a deal, because the other ones around it are going for that.
Yeah.
And they're not really, they're just getting caught up in the euphoria. And it's the same thing in financial markets. People see, they're like, oh my gosh, the stock market's at all-time highs. I got to get involved. I mean, please, we could have Dad, our father, is a ex-financial professional. We could have him come on and give his spiel. But I'm sure he'd say the same thing, where it's like, you have anytime, it's so weird because you should be greedy when others are fearful and fearful when others are greedy. And I'm sure in the home buying market and in the stock market, people, it's like the complete opposite.
I say it all the time. Buy when people are scared and you make more money.
Yeah.
If you're really trying to buy when everybody else is buying and, oh yeah, you know, it's interesting because people like listen to Barbara Corcoran like she is the second coming of Christ. It's crazy.
The Shark Tank lady.
Yeah. And the thing about her advice sometimes is that it feels like what every realtor tells you. It's always a good time to buy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whenever you're ready. Fuck that. I don't believe that for shit. It's not always a good time to buy. And it's not because whether you're ready or not. If the market is shitty and you're ready to buy, don't buy. Save your fucking money. Invest it for a few more years. Wait until something happens. And then buy. You know what I mean? But if the market's at the top, you know it. Everything's going over. I'll buy.
Yeah. I feel like I've never heard a lot about Barbara Corcoran, but if I can understand what type of person she is from seeing her on Shark Tank and everything, she is the longest gamer, right? She's been in this game for so long, and she is understood. This is why I think she's had so much success. She's understood the scope and, you know, looking out in front of her career 10, 20, 30 years. So for her, it's always been, it'll, over the long game, it doesn't matter really when I buy, because she knew she would be continuing to be in that position. But she's not the average consumer. No. She's not somebody where, I mean, a lot of people now, the majority of their assets is their home. And that was never supposed to be the case.
I think it's crazy how many people say they're going to retire on their house.
Right. And that to me is nuts, because what are they going to do? Sell the house and then just get an apartment or something? Like that's the retirement.
They're going to move here.
They're all going to move to Anna Maria Island.
If you're retiring on your house money, you're Anna Maria.
That's true. Yeah.
You
get that house you looked at the other day was what? $9 million.
And
it was a big house.
They are asking the same price per square foot down here that we do in Manhattan for new developments. $2,500 a foot.
Yeah.
And they're getting it on this island, which is insane, considering the fact that this island is about 3 inches above the water. I don't know if you can tell, but we could sink at any moment. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And personally, I would never buy on something like this. I don't really like islands. I don't like natural disaster zones for my personal investment. I would never buy on something like this. There's can go wrong here.
Right.
And more can go wrong than right.
It just feels like putting a big stack of cash in a house where there's constant forest fires.
Always.
I've never understood it either. I know there's a lot of people that live here and love it down here. The weather is obviously beautiful, like we've been talking about. But you're right. I mean, I could not imagine being like every day over from July to November checking my weather app. Oh, wow, that one looks pretty big.
Yeah. Well, everyone down here is like, woo, we were spared this year, the big one. I'm like...
It's like spared.
No, exactly.
And they're only getting bigger.
They're only getting bigger. They're only getting stronger.
This isn't a climate podcast.
I told you. I was like, well, you know, the ocean's rising. I'm like, it's a good thing all your houses are elevated. When I said that, I got looked at like I had 3 heads. I was like, no, the water's rising. Like, for sure. Like, don't kid yourself.
For whatever reason, this channel is very low.
I think it's getting higher. As we've been here, it's been raising.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're coming in with the tide, but...
I don't really know what's in these. They're kind of...
Manatees. if we had a little fresh water spout, we'd see manatees.
Do you think?
Yeah, remember when we were here a few years ago? And
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Damn. Not a fresh water spout. That's hysterical.
Well, yeah, because the manatees like the fresh
the
water.
spring.
Yeah.
I just saw a video of one of them, like, sifting through the sand to get the water. They're so goddamn cute. They're just so fucking random. Like, I love that we have those animals that are just, like, adorable and have no function.
They have function. They clean the bottom, don't they?
I don't know.
Probably.
Not a notable function.
Right. They just look like very
You know what I
strange in the
mean?
water.
Yeah,
Those,
we're just like-
huge blobs.
Yeah.
You know, now that I think about it, never seen one out of the water. Obviously, they don't come out of the water, but even like you'd expect to see, you see like a dead fish out of water.
Oh, you've
I've never
seen
seen like a dead manatee just out of like what it actually looks like.
I
I've
bet
just
you it
seen
gets
them,
eaten.
like- oh, I'm sure, but I don't know. I feel like I've seen every fish out dead. Like sharks, whales. I've never seen a manatee dead out of water. Anyways,
Should you Google it?
no, we're not googling it.
I'm going to look it up after.
We're not googling.
I'm curious. We'll insert a picture. Manatee out of water.
Yeah, manatee out of water.
Water here, look at it. First of all, guys, everything down here is named Manatee something. The Manatee Library,
Boulevard,
Manatee Lane, a fucking, what
the
else?
skate park.
The skate park. Everything is based on manatees. Every single one. Wow, now that you say that, Tanner, better see one before we leave.
I mean, we're gonna try. I don't know how successful we're gonna be. I guess there are dolphins in here as well, but
We did see dolphins yesterday on the fishing trip.
we did. Yeah,
That was cool.
I had a blast.
Huge, guys. You go 15 miles off the thing, and then you're just in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
Fucking rocking. You and nobody else. It was the craziest
Captain
sensation.
Devin.
What?
This is Captain Devin.
Hey, if you're in Anna Maria,
Oh
use Captain Devin. What's his thing? Let's give him a shout out.
We'll give him a big shout. Big
Yeah.
plugs. He did a great
We're gonna
job,
plug him. He
honestly.
was incredible. And he's young. He's
It
21.
was
He was good.
Captain
Captain C, Captain Blue.
Devin Calderon chased the blue charters. He's based in Anna Maria Island, but he was talking about traveling up to Tampa to pick clients and whatnot. So
All right, chase the blue charters. If you need a charter in Anna Maria, give
that's
them a call.
unsponsored, but he did a great job.
It is unsponsored. We're completely unsponsored today. Anything we're talking about is completely
Right,
our own
unsponsored.
thought. I wish
Doesn't
we were
matter.
sponsored. Someone
Hey,
wants to sponsor
but
us.
you know what?
Let us know.
The authenticity goes away when you're sponsored.
You know what? No, it
Push it.
doesn't. I'd sit here either way. It'd be better with the check, though.
Good point. All right, well, we'll work on that.
We'll get a
Viewers,
sponsor for next time.
Give us a like.
Yeah, please subscribe.
Yeah,
Follow us.
Literally.
To all of Tanner's subscribers that come over and then unsubscribe after you get my fucking email. Stick around. I get it. It's a little niche. It's hard to have a newsletter because it's not hard. I think like with
Our
your
niche newsletter.
What?
If you just had a newsletter where we talk about everything going on in the world,
yeah,
a bunch of different topics, easy, because then you can capture a broad. We can talk about sports, we can
Yeah.
talk about finance, real estate, whatever. But because we are so niched, when we recommend each other, sometimes I get some clients who are like, "Who's this other guy that I'm now subscribed to?" I'm like, he's like, "Who's this man?" Like just looking at me, I'm like, "Oh, it's my brother." And he's like, "What does he do?" I'm like, "Real estate." He's like, "Why?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"It's my brother." Like, of course I'm going to support his content. And some people don't get it, but other people are like, "You know what? This is great. This gives me a look at something that maybe I hadn't thought about," or, you know,
I don't think the newsletter, I don't think necessarily, I think your newsletter is much more universal.
oh yeah, because everybody needs personal finance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the day trade, like the home trading,
Yeah, the stock investments.
all that, like because it got so popular with the apps and everything, everybody was
True.
a trader. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh, coming out of COVID, quick interjection. Coming out of COVID, so many people I saw, because the market was easy in 2020. I can't tell you how many friends I had texting me all the time, because I had already been doing it for 3 years at that, or yeah, 4 years at that point. So coming out of COVID, I had so many friends, "Oh, I bought this and I bought that and I bought this and I bought that." And I'm like, the top is in. Like, I got random people
Yeah.
who work at wherever, not that you can't work anywhere and trade, but some people who really have no experience historically in any financial markets. And they're like, "I'm doing so well at GameStop." And I'm like, please, the top is
Please, you hit GameStop one time, you think you're a trader.
That's what I'm saying. At least I saw
Spare
so
me.
many, so many. And now those guys are all weeded out and only the true.
Well, that's what happens.
Yeah. Just like real estate, I'm sure you probably had so many come in during COVID and now they're all gone.
I tell everyone, if I had $1 for every person that told me they wanted to be in real estate, I wouldn't have to be in real estate anymore.
Right.
Everybody.
Oh, I'd love to get my
Oh,
license.
I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
Be my guest, please.
Right.
Honestly, the thing about real estate, and I tell everyone this, if you love it, if you're passionate about it, do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My thing, though, is always, if you really want to do it, you'll do it.
Right.
You won't. When I meet people that are like, "I'm thinking about it, that," it's not there. The passion's not there. And I hate to break it to these people, but it's like, you aren't really making moves, and this job doesn't pay you a salary. You have to do it all yourself. Everything's on your back. You don't have nothing. So no health insurance, nothing. And everyone's like, well, it looks so fun and beautiful. And it is so fun and beautiful, but it's fucking hard. And if you're not ready for both aspects of it, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And I meet a lot of people, they're like, I've been in the business a year. Next year they're gone.
Yeah.
You know, because they're like, well, I had 2 other jobs and I was doing this on the side. And I just won my friend. I'm like, no, full time, do it. Or put all of the energy into something else. You know what I mean?
Right. You can't fake passion.
It's a dilution of energy.
You can't fake the passion. And if you don't have it for something, like I meet tons of people who come in, they're like, I really want to learn about trading, investing, finance, whatever. And we'll go through a bunch of stuff, and then I'll meet with them again like a month later, and I'll be like, well, did you practice? Did you try anything? Did you check out the market? Did you do anything? Like, no, I just wanted to wait for you. And it's like, dude, I mean, you're not going to make it in this industry or in this world at all if you don't have the passion for it. My roommate says it all the time. You cannot fake the passion. You can't.
You can't. It's impossible. And people can read it. They can smell it. And also, I think it comes down to truly your knowledge. Like when you're really passionate about something, you can just talk about
Pick it up
quick.
Yeah.
And you like to learn about it. So your knowledge is forever growing and you're constantly looking to absorb more information. You know, I'm on vacation. I'm hitting open houses. That to me, that's market knowledge. Now I know realtors down here, kind of price per square foot is, and some of the developer names. Like I just got a ton of knowledge about this. Someone that's just like, well, I'm thinking about going in real estate. They might not even think,
oh, I should look at what's going on down there. Yeah.
I should see what's going to be open today. Yeah. People aren't doing that because they don't even think about it. You know what I mean? I as someone that is so passionate about it, I love my job. I really, really do. I'm always thinking about it. It's my mind. I'm constantly talking about it. Last time we met these ladies at the bar, I was trying to sell one of them the house. I'm like, I saw this gray house, Michelle. Yeah, shout out Michelle. So, I mean, I don't know. You can't fake the passion. That's so true.
Yeah.
We should make merch with that.
Please. My roommate would want royalties. Connor. That's like I think that might be his Twitter bio. Shout out.
Is it?
Friend. Shout out Connor. He loves it. There's like an extension to it. There's an extension to it. He's like motivation, but you can't fake the passion. He's so right. And he always says it, and it's true. I mean, you see it. I see it. People come into our industries, and they're like, I really want to do this. I want to do this. And they just don't. They don't push for it, and they don't do it when others don't even think to do it, like you were saying, right? People come down here on vacation. You come down here on vacation, but you also come down here to work.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, at this point now, I can't walk into anybody's business, any store. I can't read any news headline without thinking, well, I wonder what the market implications are of that. Or freaking Dad and I, every time we go into any business, they can't be making any money. Every time. Yeah, how many times have Dad and I walked into a business and we go, this place isn't making any money.
All the time.
Because all we're thinking, big fish.
What the hell was that?
Because all the time we're just thinking profit margins, what this business does, what they sell, where they're getting their products from, the fact that there might be nobody in the store or restaurant. We're like, what the hell's going on around here?
I think, though, it is so funny, like, because we grew up with a dad in business, that has given us, like, all three. We have a sister as well, for all of you guys watching that don't know. All three of us do have these, like, businessy mindsets and business analytic set and try. You know what I mean?
We just want to.
Yeah,
we're always looking, get our hands in.
Yeah, which is nice. You know what I mean? We were very much encouraged. That it's funny. Like we both ended up having our own businesses, and the reality is, we grew up with a dad who told us, "Work for yourself before you go and work for somebody else. Yeah. You can always work for somebody else. You don't really have a lot of opportunities to work for yourself." And thank God we had that because it has paid off in landslides now.
Wow, interesting use of vocab. I like that though.
What?
Pay off in landslides. You could have said paid off in dividends for nice.
See, that's a financing. I'm not using that.
No. I understand. But you're right. And I see a lot of guys coming in now and girls coming into, especially investing, and they want to do it as like a source of income. Mm-hmm. And while, yes, we were always told you can always go back and work for somebody else. But our dad was also a very realistic person. He's like, you need a job to support your side hustle. So before your side hustle becomes your main hustle. Now for you, real estate is something kind of where you have to go all into it, right?
You got to go all into it.
You can't sidestep it. Yeah.
And I also, when I was originally looking into it, I was jogging Dad along with me to open houses. Yeah. And I would talk to realtors just to get an idea, like, what do you think and whatever. And the resounding note I kept getting from all of these people was, I wish I'd started younger. I was meeting all these agents that were like 50. They were like, I started 40. I had a second career before I did this, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, you know what? Fuck that. I'm going to start the moment I graduate college. That's
Oh,
the
yeah.
earliest I could start. You know what I mean? I wanted to finish college. I'm very happy at that. But then I was like, okay, I'm 22. Now I can go.
Yeah.
It's been 4.5 years now.
Yeah. It's never too early to start, but you do have to have some stability before you just dive head first in, right? We want people to be protected in that
Totally.
regard.
Listen,
Yeah.
if you don't have the means to support yourself for at least a year, and I mean a year
Right.
generously, don't do real estate.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Yeah, because you need to be able to build your network.
Those first 2 years,
Yeah.
I was busting my, just trying to meet people, get out there, just fucking running all the time. And it was fucking hard. And I can't imagine doing it with another job.
Yeah.
Now, of course, I get it. Some people, you really want to do it, but you need that second job. Have the second job. I don't give a shit what you do with your life. But I just think it's very, very difficult.
Yeah.
And it will make your process longer.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
you need to be able to that protective net. I guess that's what I was getting
Yeah.
at earlier. Is like you have to have some net of protection, some savings put away, something to be able to cover yourself, so you can just weather the storm of figuring out what's going on. Well, I mean,
You gotta weather the market.
right. I mean, when I was really getting into the whole education aspect of it, and again, no financial advice, but just helping people understand what different products are, because there's not a lot of information on it. We didn't learn shit about it in school, but early on, I mean, I was doing those lessons for free.
Yeah.
So I had the job at the bank, and then I would go home and do lessons for free just so I could get some testimonials for people to be like, hey, this guy knows what he's talking about, and he articulates things in a way that are easy to understand for somebody who's new to that that's new to investing or whatever. And I think if I didn't have that base where I was in school and I was working to be able to give lessons for free for like a year and a half, it wouldn't have worked, because I would have rushed to get paid early, and that would have hindered me in the long run. I needed to build my network. I needed to build my Twitter, build my newsletter to really get the ball rolling.
You needed the time to build it.
Right. And you have to be able to have that cushion of, all right, I'm looking at my assets. I can do this for 3 years before I run out of money. And
it's like, it better work.
yeah, and I took that from Elon Musk when he was talking. He's like, I have 2 companies that are both my children. One of them is losing money, but it's the better idea. The other one's making money, but it's not as big a potential as this one. He's like, do I kill one and save the other, or do I try and save both and they both fail? And I don't know. I just took a lot of motivation from it. Where it's like, I understand that you have one idea that's like very stable and another idea that's risky. And to be able to manage both of them is very difficult. And taking that risk of, I'm going to try and keep them both, and they could both fail because of this. But I also recognize that I couldn't just go all in on one because it's too big of a gamble.
Airbnb, let's talk about it, because seriously, you don't own your house anymore, guys. Sorry to break it to you. You don't. You don't own shit. You're not allowed to do what you want in your house. So everybody's telling you what you have to. Maybe it's just a city thing. You don't own your house in the city. Let me put it to you that way. They don't let you rent out your house on Airbnb anymore because people are fucking annoying. They don't let you rent your house for shorter than, mostly, now it's 30 days.
You have to rent it for more than 30 days.
You have to rent it for at least 30.
Why? Because they're anti-Airbnb.
They're anti-Airbnb, but who's anti-Airbnb?
I think...
Actually, I know anti-Airbnb because I have people, fuckers, everybody in the city, everyone... This is the problem. You all got played, and I'm going to tell you why. Everyone demonized the single family, the people that were owning Airbnb. They were owning Airbnbs.
Yeah.
Do you know that more than 40% of the single family homes in the United States right now are owned by a corporation? 40%. More. All owned by not a person, a company.
And those are rented out.
Another thing about Airbnb that people seem to fail to forget. If you don't have a house, maybe you're just, struggling financially and you become a little housing unstable. Airbnb was great because if you picked up a little extra money, you could get a house for a day or two.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Airbnb was a little cheaper.
Right.
It was nice to have that. Now you don't have that anymore. Gone. Hotel only.
Do you think they grew? So obviously I'm me, I'm a capitalist. I believe you should be able to have whatever you want. You should have as many homes as you want. Do whatever you want with them.
I agree.
But do you think that Airbnb's meteoric rise and like how quickly they grew in popularity kind of pushed too far, like the fees, and kind of like they just started to gouge customers because people were getting into it for the wrong reasons, right? Because originally Airbnb was designed like, hey, I've got a spare room, or I'm going out of town for a few weeks, if somebody needs a place, I can just pick up some extra cash to like pay for my vacation or whatever. And now it's kind of like people have second, third, fourth homes. I mean, we know people that have multiple homes just for the idea of having Airbnb. And before we got on, just to make sure my facts were correct, I wanted to look into it. So Airbnb as a company is still making money year over the last few years.
I'm sure.
But it's slowing down over the last couple, because I think now, and I don't know about you, but when I travel now, my friends are like, we look at the Airbnb and we almost immediately verify it against hotels, whereas before we just knew that Airbnb would be cheaper. But now it's like we're starting to gray that area where somehow big hotel has come back in and swooped a lot of clients, because Airbnb is just kind of taking it, I think, maybe one step too far.
Well,
People are getting fed up with it.
I think with Airbnb is that you see too many fees. If they have fucking baked those costs in, you'd never fucking know.
Right. If they just said $300 a night flat,
Yeah.
people would be. It's like anything, dude. It's simple marketing, right?
Yeah.
But when you have cleaning fee, let the dog out fee, put soap on the dishwasher, right. All these different fees,
it gets expensive.
It gets really expensive, and people hate to see the long list. It's like when you have a restaurant bill, and now have like a 5% for increased wages, for taxes, whatever.
Yes.
And people look at that and they just go, well, shouldn't that be baked in? And it should.
Yeah.
Just bake it into the cost of the goods on the menu, or bake it into the cost of your drinks or whatever. Bake it in somewhere, and you're going to recoup that money, and probably a little bit more for what it's worth. 5% increase on like a drink.
Do you have to disclose? Like,
I haven't seen any legislation. I could be wrong. I haven't seen any legislation that says you have to disclose that you've raised your rent or that you've raised your wages for your employees. That's ridiculous.
Like that you've raised your wages, or it's like just bake it into the cost and say food's getting more expensive. Although that's the other scam. Food is so goddamn expensive now.
Oh, please.
I just saw a thing that grocery stores are up like, what the hell was that?
Yeah. And I mean, quick piece about food being so expensive. We just had the Federal Reserve on a couple days ago talking about inflation. So inflation is coming down, but it's not at the point yet where we're going to cut rates. I think it's possible that things remain inflated for a period of time if we don't raise. I don't think we're going to raise rates, but I don't think we're going to cut them anytime soon, which would spur inflation, because things are just still expensive. We need those prices to come down. They're still, the basket of goods that they base it upon. I mean, please, I saw $10 eggs at Whole Foods the other day. I'm not a Whole Foods shopper, but I was in Whole Foods to get shrimp, and I just heard a lady go, $10 for eggs. And her daughter goes, but they're so good. And her mom goes, they're eggs.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, Cheerios are $8.
Yeah. But anyway.
When the fuck did Cheerios turn to be? When did they become $8? I feel like cereal used to be like $4.
Oh, yeah, flakes.
Yeah, $4 for the whole box. Now $8.
Yeah,
I'm like, and what changed?
Right. I mean, just supply chain got more expensive. The logistics got more expensive. Oil and gas is not as cheap as it was in 2020. And that's all baking in, right? And like something else that we're seeing is, as people are demanding higher wages in the workplace, they're just laying off people. Everybody remembers this. UPS famously $170,000 for a driver. Do you remember that?
They just laid them off.
Yeah. In August, they announced drivers were going to make the ability to make $170,000 as a driver for UPS. Great. The union got that done. Last week, UPS annihilates 11,000 employees because, in these environments where inflation is so high and goods are going up or have been elevated, those costs are going to have to be pulled from elsewhere. And if you have employees expecting more in wages, they're just going to start firing employees and just make it work with what they've got.
Well, they played all y'all because they kept you through the holidays and then fired your asses.
Of course. Well, January's layoff season. Yeah.
January's layoff season. But especially for UPS, it's like,
right.
You announce in August, right before holiday season, that you're going to make 170, hire all these people on with these big ass wages, and then gone.
So talk to me a little bit about what you think going forward for home buyers. What are you seeing because I mean, rates are elevated as fuck. I mean, rates are at 7.6% across the US right now for a 30-year fixed.
I can get you like 6.
Well, I know, but that's the average across the country.
7.5.
7.6, yeah. So, with rates that high, in 30 years, you're going to end up paying more than double the home value just in interest, just in the interest alone.
I'd be very curious. I mean, it's tough, right? It's like interest rates are so high. Even doing like a shorter loan, like instead of 30, doing like a 10.
Yeah.
Even that though, it's like, okay, because rates are so high, those payments are astronomical.
Right, because the principals are also high.
Yeah.
This is the environment that I wanted to talk about is you have elevated home prices, which, yes, have come down a measly 3% in the last year from like 412 to 407 median home price. But rates are still elevated and home prices are up like 60% in the last 3-4 years. So you have elevated home prices, elevated mortgage rate. I know a lot of people are like, oh, buy the like now's an environment where I think more people should be buying the price, right? Buying like a cheaper house because supply is so limited.
Yeah.
And then you can always refi down the road. It's just how long is that going to take?
Marry your price, state your rate.
Yeah.
That's what we always say. You can refinance. However, to all my people that are refinancing, you pay a 2% mortgage recording fee
Oh, really?
every time you refinance.
I didn't know that. So a lot of people are like, oh, just refi in a year.
Yeah.
For like
You pay
1%. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you really got to look into it and make sure that the refi is enough. If you had an
Do the math.
8, and now we're at 6.5, refi. You know what I mean? That's 2.5%. You're going to save yourself a shitload of interest.
Yeah.
But if you're going 0.5%, I'm going to refinance. You're paying so much goddamn money in mortgage
Fees,
processing.
yeah.
That bank's screwing you.
Yep.
You think you're winning.
You're not.
The bank is winning.
Yeah.
The bank is always winning.
So as far as your clients going, are you seeing more renters? Are you recommending more renting with the environment? I mean, I'll tell you what, I have no interest in buying a home right now. Not only because I don't really want to take care of a home, but just because you have elevated price and elevated rate. And when you're in that type of environment, it becomes just overly expensive on both sides. It's like, at least maybe on one, like during COVID lull, you had home prices and rates in the dumps.
Low.
Over the course of the last 20 years, we've seen times where home prices have been pretty high, rates have been pretty low, or vice versa. And then it's like, okay, well, I'll buy the home price and I'll, date the rate, or vice versa. So like, what do you think going forward? What are you seeing clients doing more? What's your team talking about?
Right now, we're telling buyers it's a great time.
Right.
And I believe that.
Yeah.
Because I think we're able to get you we're able to get you pricing that's very opportunity driven. I don't know what I'm trying to say, opportunistic.
Well,
but
do you think it's different in New York? I mean, obviously you're in New York City, which is kind of, I mean, that's very different than like even upstate.
totally.
Like the market that I'm seeing up here is drastically different than what you're seeing in New York City.
Yeah, I mean, even still, right now, people are still scared and whatever, and you can feel it in the market. People are just kind of, they'll just wait around and see. Maybe we'll see what happens, and that's when I think you do buy. You know what I mean? Yeah. Well, I'm seeing discounts in the city up to like 10, 12%.
Yeah.
On houses. That's obscene.
Yeah.
Then a 10% decrease. We got a Fisher.
Please.
We have an audience now. I would buy now. I believe that in 2015, 2014, 2016, for sale right now. You can find so many houses from that time.
Yeah.
And they're selling at a loss. So that's an
right?
opportunity. In a market that seems like it won't have any opportunity, there's one right there.
That's a really good point that you bring up, because I think a lot of people look at the charts and the graphs of just the price like skyrocketing, but there were specific periods throughout the last decade or so where I guess we did have L prices in specific areas where now those home prices, while yes, the whole market is elevated right now, there were periods where now it's just kind of like meeting back up with what it had been at previously in specific areas, boroughs, whatever. So I understand that actually makes sense. And the other thing too is there is no supply. We talked about it earlier with BlackRock coming in and scooping up so many homes. I was listening to a podcast on my way down here with a realtor who was talking about, he's like, yeah, I had BlackRock, they'd come in, they'd pay all cash, and they'd already have a renter lined up for it. That's why home constructions are up so much for my stock guys. Home builders have been the best stocks to have over the last couple of years because
there's something in that tree. I just saw it.
It's fine. Because home builders, because there's no supply. So like, well, I'll just build. It's going to cost me a shit ton anyway. I might as well just build a home. It's caused home builders to do very well. And that limited supply is only, like, that's not going away, right? I was looking into it because I was hoping to see.
Damn it, I'm so distracted. I'm like terrified that something's going to like pop out of this and scare me. I'm going to fall in.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Stay on task.
What was that?
But please.
My apologies.
This is the relationship. John's like, And I'm like, stay on task.
Please, when you see something, just through the, I don't know what it is. They have pythons down here.
Anyways,
Anyway, home building is up.
home building's up because supply is down.
Yeah.
And people are like, well, if I'm going to spend the money, I might as well just build a house that I know that I'm going to like.
Yeah, but now, I mean, you're paying a lot for new development.
Right, but you're paying a lot for new homes.
For resale.
Because there's just no supply. So I think from my perspective, I look at it like elevated rate, elevated price. From your perspective, you're like, there's just no supply. Like, yeah, they're getting homes at a discount from what they were 2015, 2016 highs, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, that's not a huge contributor to the overarching supply of homes available.
No.
Yeah.
I think ultimately in the city, like, we don't really deal with the supply issue often.
Yeah.
We've always got fucking supply. Right now, they'll tell you, oh, there's not a lot on the market. You know, I think the city always has supply. Sometimes it has better inventory.
Yeah.
Like sometimes the quality of the product will be better.
Right.
But I never really feel this like resounding, oh, there's nothing on the market. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's always a new building. There's always something new coming. Like I'm getting emails all the time. New listing. It's like there is inventory all the time. It's because we have so much housing. When you get to the suburbs, it's like there's not many houses, you know? So yes, supply is low. The reality is there's just not as many houses, you know?
Yeah.
So, and there's not as many people moving. I don't think you move as much in the suburbs.
What do you mean?
Like, I think people that live in cities move more.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like, well, obviously, because a lot of people work really hard in the city and then move out to retire in the suburbs.
I mean, within the city, I think they move more.
Oh, really? You think they're just moving boroughs?
I just think they're moving generally
I see.
more. Like, I think they just do that. Like, in the suburbs, you know, it's like, especially like our parents, like you buy a house or you build a house, whatever, and then you live in it for like 25 years, 30 years.
Right.
We don't really do that. As a generation, like, we don't really, I mean, maybe we do. We haven't really arrived at the point where we've had 30 years to look at it, but I don't really get the sense that whereas, like, it's got to be one spot and that's it. You know what I mean?
I think that's a good point. A lot of young people are just bouncing around.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I've started to compare us, like our parents' children, to our grandparents, because their parents, our grandparents, you know, they immigrated here from Italy, and then they stayed and moved.
Right.
And then their kids settled other places, and then they had a kid, and they all stayed. And now our generations are moving again.
Yeah.
We're spreading back out, and we'll probably plant again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Good point.
It's starting to become very cyclical.
Don't talk to me about cyclical.
I'm saying
everything
cyclical.
Is cyclical.
I mean, history repeats itself.
Yeah.
Couldn't be more true.
Please. Yeah.
But I do think like that is where we're headed, and that's why I do think we move more. I don't think people value the one house. I'm a little different. I don't like to offer because I think it's in the ass, but that's why I like helping other people move.
And that's a good point. And honestly, that might even play into the supply issues, right? You have so many people just getting out. I mean, most of my friends are no longer in our home.
Yeah.
In our hometown. Most of them have left and gone to find, to settle elsewhere. Because you're right. Our generation is really kind of pushed for this whole, we got to go to college as far away as possible, which for whatever your opinion is, like whatever. But that's spread people out quite a bit. And I think it's maybe played a factor in the supply.
I think like we grew up in a very interesting, because we grew up in such a small town.
Yeah.
I think like everybody wanted to get out of the small town.
That's a good point, yeah.
Just to get out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, I got to go somewhere that isn't farms and cows. You know what I mean?
We did grow up in a very rural area.
Our Facebook group, I mean, they're like, oh, there's loose cows.
Hello?
Where else you got into that?
Yeah,
You know what
right,
I mean? So it's
right.
like, yeah, I understand why people are moving more, especially from places like we grew up.
Yeah.
What else do we have to talk? This is going to hit an hour. We got to stop.
I know, but we
I'll
have a
chop
few
it.
minutes on the front end that we can get rid of as well. We're
True.
going around. We can cut up the middle a little bit.
Okay.
I think we're just going to talk about an outro.
Okay.
Close it down, son.
An outro. Well, Tanner, this has been very fun. I'm happy that we did this.
Please. We got down here. We knew we'd have a little bit of time. I think it was the right call. We know we have an audience overlap on Substack.
I hope you guys enjoy this. I'm hoping that we get so much feedback on this that you guys demand we do it, and then weekly we have to release one.
Oh my gosh, please. I'd be all right with that.
Your newsletter comes out what day?
Mine's always Sundays, and then
Yeah.
anything educational, like 3 p.m.
Okay.
And then anything educational is just random throughout the week. And yours is Wednesday mornings.
I'm Wednesday morning at 7:45.
Yeah, okay.
What is your Twitter?
My Twitter is at Tanner's Trades. I just post, it's called Tanner's Trades. I don't really post that many trades on there. I just post a lot of financial data. I'm posting my opinions about markets, whatever. And then I have a YouTube channel as well, which is the same. And
Yeah, you started doing YouTube.
yeah, I've got a few videos on it from December. They were just weekly, but I kind of found that they were just a reflection of the newsletter.
It was you reading
So
it.
yeah, so now I'm just I'm trying to find content that is in the same niche but slightly different. Maybe it's like a Friday that does like a weekend review,
Yeah.
and then I have the newsletter on Sunday. But yeah.
Ooh, you know what? A weekend review would be cool because your newsletter comes out on Sunday. You like release all these trades and whatever.
And then Friday
And then
afternoon,
Friday you talk about it. How'd
Yep.
the week go?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. We're coming up with new content right here.
that might be
This
it.
is a think tank, ladies and
That might be
gentlemen.
it. But yeah, it was so fun to do this. Hopefully, we gave people a good look into kind of our backgrounds, what we think about different things. And I know we have varying viewpoints because you're coming in from an experience viewpoint. You've got buyers and sellers that you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. I'm looking at it from purely a numbers standpoint, and there's a big disconnect there.
But you need both.
Yeah, you can't make a sound decision if you don't have both.
No. I honestly love the analytics of real estate. It's something that I've really pushed into while I've been in the job.
Yeah.
I really pride myself on being able to price houses like very close to what I think that, like from what I tell you it's worth, I usually can get pretty close to it.
Yeah.
Which I love. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? But there's a lot of market knowledge that goes into that. And especially one more thing before we go. Oh God, here we go again. How do you feel about like, I guess this doesn't really apply to you. Like we do comparative market analysis where we compare houses, you know what I mean, to figure out a price. But now people are just having AI do it. And I'm like, AI can't look at a house and tell me if the kitchen's been updated.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. There's a lot of people that do stock analysis and they just run everything through ChatGPT. They'll like look at a financial statement, whatever, and they'll just run the whole thing through ChatGPT and go, is this a good business? And ChatGPT can obviously pull, oh yeah, this is growing, this is growing, this is growing, but they don't know competition. They don't know what's going on the whole. They don't know what the management team is doing. And it's the same type of thing, I'm sure, in comparative analysis in real estate, where you have huge KPIs that ChatGPT can kind of harness down and give you points and like good bullets, but can't do the nuance, right?
No.
If there was no nuance, the market would be perfectly regulated and everything not regulated. It would be perfectly like you would know what the value is of everything, right? There would be no bid or add. It would just be, yep, this is the value of the home because of X, Y, and Z. It's the same thing with finance and stocks. There is nuance to it. There is a number of factors that you have to factor in. And then there are factors that some people factor in and other people don't. And that's what comes together to kind of cultivate an idea. And I don't think you can get that through a generative program. I don't.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. You better go into a job with nuance.
Oh, please. Anything that's not nuanced, your job.
AI's taking your job, unfortunately.
I mean, please look at all the poor graphic designers.
Honestly.
And there was such nuance. That's maybe the only example. There was so much nuance in graphic design, and they were getting fired by the gross when ChatGPT and all these
I think it'll come back because I think personalization will be lost.
I agree. Yeah,
a personal feeling, a personal touch that is gone with AI. You don't get that. So it's like, okay, maybe we fired them all immediately because it was like, oh, well, we can make photos if we just type in these words. But it's like, are you really getting what you want?
Yeah.
Is it really efficient? Like, is it taking how hard is it to really get what you want?
Yeah.
Through AI. How many times do you have to work it over and over and over until you're finally like, yes, okay. And then it's the time, I don't know. Sure, AI is free, but at what cost? This was our Meet the Founders. I'm so happy.
This really was Meet the Founders.
Yeah.
Of finding spaces and charts, trades, and analysis.
Yeah.
I hope you guys enjoyed. I'd love to do it again. I mean, we talked about it earlier. I think it'd be good. We could maybe come at it with like one topic that we wanted to talk about. Obviously, today we kind of did intro. We did. We bounced all over. But, it gives people that are on both sides of our audience,
a taste,
an idea of what's going on.
Just a little sneak peek.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
We drop some good motivation for some of you.
What does Connor say?
You can't fake passion.
There it is.